You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
The legal appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure...
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dolton, Illinois, is finally getting what many say she deserves. Rumors are swirling that she's been arrested and is currently being grilled by federal authorities. That's right, after years of controversy, corruption, and a laundry list of confidence. Maito, longden kameng do kwano kiyemenkyo. Excuse me, it looks like Henyard reign might be coming to an end, but how did it all go so wrong for the woman who once promised to bring change to her community? And why are so many of her former allies now turning against her? Were you paid by them? Did you fly first class to Las Vegas? Any other questions? Let's dive into the shocking details of this unfolding drama. Henyard's journey to becoming the mayor of Dolton is anything but ordinary. She came into office with grand promises of reform and a fresh start for the village. But as it turns out, those promises were nothing more than smoke and mirrors instead of the change Dolton desperately needed. Henyard what? Chaos, corruption, and a heavy-handed approach that quickly earned her the nickname Dolton Dictator from the very beginning. Henyard's leadership style was marked by controversy. Elected in 2021, she wasted no time in making her presence known both in and beyond. She wasn't just content with being mayor. She also took on the role of supervisor for Thornton Town SIP, which brought her a hefty combined salary of nearly $300,000, a sum that left many residents of the working class town scratching their heads.
Anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
Numbers were staggering, with credit card statements revealing a 5-month spree that racked up over $100,000 in expenses. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Henyard's spending habits weren't just excessive, they were downright egregious. For instance, she and her entourage reportedly dropped over $9,000 at the Four Seasons Hotel in Atlanta and splurged on more than $133,000 at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. The town's money was being burnt through faster than anyone could keep track of, and it quickly became clear that Henyard was living large at the community's expense. But, when residents and trustees started asking questions, they were met with silence or worse, retaliation. Is there a motion to terminate? The former allies are now speaking out, and what they're saying isn't pretty. Take Thornton Township trustee Carmen Carlisle, for example. Carlisle was once one of Hen's closest confidants, working as her assistant before being appointed a trustee in 2023. But now Carl has had enough. She's come forward with a scathing public statement accusing Henyard of unethical and predatory behavior designed to increase her influence at the INR. And according to Carlisle, Henyard has been manipulating employees, vendors, and residents for years, all while projecting a false image of success. Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions. And sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait. It's about just making sure the right thing is paralyzed. Revelations have only added fuel to the fire. During a special board meeting, she admitted that she had initially trusted Henyard and didn't question the extravagant spending until she couldn't ignore the red flags any longer. So Carlisle and other trustees have since voted to impose new restrictions on spending but the damage has already been done. And the village is drowning in debt with a deficit of over $65 million. It's a far cry from the surplus of $61 million that existed just 2 years ago. But the administration can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to necessarily the fallout from these revelations has been swift and brutal. Henyard has responded to Kara Eisel's accusations with venom, dubbing her former ally lion Karazal in front of a packed audience. But the nickname hasn't done much to deflect attention from the growing scandal. The FBI has reportedly taken notice, launching an investigation into Henyard's financial dealings with federal seas have already been served. And rumors are swirling that the feds have a long list of witnesses ready to testify against RFox 32 has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing thousands of dollars. It's not just Karile who has turned against Henyard. Many of her other former allies are also jumping ship. One of the most significant blows came when Dolton's deputy police chief, Lacey, was indicted on bankruptcy fraud charges. Lacey was a staunch supporter of Henyard and was even involved in some of the most controversial decisions of her administration. But now, with federal charges looming over him, Lacey's loyalty to Henyard has come into question. Some insiders believe that Lacey might be cooperating with investigators to save his own skin, a move that could spell disaster for Henyard. One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here. But how did Hen's once loyal allies become her greatest adversaries? The answer lies in her increasingly dictatorial approach to leadership. Over the years, Henyard has been accused of using her power to intimidate and retaliate against anyone who dared to oppose her. There are even reports that she weaponized the police department, using officers to target her critics and enforce her will. Former trustee Valeria Stubbs claims that Henyard orchestrated a shooting at her home in retaliation for speaking out against the mayor, a chilling allegation that has sent shockwaves through the community. Henyard's enemies aren't just limited to trustees and law enforcement officials. Even members of her own administration have started to turn on her. Earlier this year, Keith Freeman, Henyard's top aide and the village administrator, was charged with bankruptcy fraud. Freeman, who had been one of Henyard's most trusted allies, is now reportedly cooperating with investigators, a move that could bring even more damning evidence to light. I think you should pay everybody. Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is? What was it for? It was for shirts. That's what it's for. With so many of her former supporters turning against her, it's no wonder that Henyard is in deep trouble. But the real question is, how did she manage to stay in power for so long? The answer lies in her ability to manipulate the system and silence her critics. Henyard was a master at using her position to enrich herself and her allies while keeping the community in the dark about her true intentions. She even managed to get her hands on a golden microphone, an extravagant symbol of her power that she used to address meetings and events. But as the investigation heats up, it's becoming clear that Henyard's days as Dot's dictator are numbered. The FBI is reportedly closing in on her, and insiders say that an arrest could be imminent. Rumors are swirling that Henyard is currently being questioned by federal agents, and there's speculation that she could be facing serious charges in the near future. We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting the... So what's next for Tiffany Henyard? If the rumors are true, she could soon find herself behind bars, facing a laundry list of charges ranging from corruption to financial mismanagement. But even if she manages to avoid jail time, her political career is likely over. The community has had enough of her antics, and there's little chance that she'll be able to rebuild her reputation after this scandal as the drama continues to unfold. One thing is certain: Dolan's residents deserve better, but they deserve a leader who will put their needs first.